Aside from his sportsmanship, Michael Strahan has been in the news for various reasons. His career and reputation were altered by his connection with Jean Muggli, his now ex-wife. Let's look over the specifics of what transpired in more detail. Where it all began. Because of his intense passion for expensive shower gel bottles, Michael Strahan often visited a skincare salon, which also happened to be Jean Muggli's place of employment. Their attraction and desire for one another began and developed at this point. Regretfully, their relationship just became worse since it didn't start well. In terms of their jobs, they were in two entirely different universes. While Strahan was about to reach the pinnacle of his athletic career with a well-known American football club, Muggli worked in a skincare clinic and grew up on a farm in North Dakota. At one point, Muggli wondered whether Strahan could have been a little fixated on his hygiene, but she also knew he wanted to go on a date with her because of his many trips to the store. A rocky start. Some may refer to the two's immediate connection as chemistry. Still, relationships comprise many other elements, and chemistry is only one thing that holds them together. Their fascination and desire for a relationship increased due to Muggli's apparent ability to understand Strahan better than Strahan knew himself. In an interview, Muggli said, "But I quickly discovered that he is not your typical macho kind of athlete." Regardless of how well they knew one another, having one or both partners in a relationship who are well known complicates matters significantly. Their explicit prenuptial agreement. Strahan and Muggli decided to wed after an already tricky beginning to their relationship. In 1999, they exchanged vows without considering how their professions might change or be impacted. Strahan and Muggli maintained their jobs and even put in more effort to advance and improve their respective fields. One of them suffered significant losses due to the prenuptial agreement they established, which subsequently became a motivating factor. Prenuptial agreements safeguard assets and may serve as a wake-up call when one or both parties are on the verge of making a significant error. Compared to some previous celebrity prenuptial agreements, Strahan and Muggli's pact seemed to be a little more drastic. However, they decided that Strahan would pay Muggli 20% of his income in the event of a divorce. Moving to Upper Manhattan in preparation for family life. In 2004, Muggli gave birth to two beautiful twin daughters, Sophia and Isabella. They were both quite happy with the girls. It was said that the sole positive outcome of their complicated marriage and relationship may have been their twins. One can't help but wonder how some couples manage to remain together for so long while yet being unhappy all the time, as Strahan and Muggli were. The couple moved to Manhattan's Upper West Side, a more family-friendly neighborhood. Their marriage became increasingly complex, and it was still unclear what was happening behind the closed doors of their new family home in Manhattan. Michael's sexuality was questioned. Another startling claim that caused everyone to wonder about Jean's retaliatory intentions was when she claimed throughout their divorce procedures that Michael was not being as active with her because he was gay. Michael and Ian were close, and she said, "Michael moved into Ian's one-bedroom apartment, and you can tell an alternative lifestyle sprouted." They were longtime friends who supported one another through difficult times, as any good friend would. Before making these accusations in public, Jean's attorney counseled her against it since Ian was a well-known public personality who had appeared on programs like The Doctors, Celebrity Fit Club, and The View. Guided by his lawyer, Robert Penza. "I have a lot of friends that are bi or gay, so if this were real, it would be a huge blow right away." Following Jean's accusation that he was homosexual, Michael Strahan said in a radio interview, "It's fine with me." In response to these charges, Michael went on Wendy Williams' radio show to discuss the subject in more detail. Michael refuted them and remained calm yet meticulous throughout. Robert Penza, Michael's attorney, advised him with his remarks and his indifferent stance toward homosexuality. "This is New York City. If you can't accept people for being people, you have no business being here. I don't frown on anybody for that lifestyle. It's not mine, and I laugh. All that matters is that I will take care of my kids." Ian also claimed false accusations due to being in a loving marriage now. Ian also came out to provide his perspective regarding the current charges against Michael and his buddy Ian Smith. In response, he informed the public about his present relationship status. Even though Ian and Michael lived together for many years, It was not because of anything sexual. Ian was a happy married guy. Ian demonstrated that he was excellent at entertaining and warmly welcoming his guests. When I had to stay somewhere, he opened his door. It's not that I couldn't stay at any hotel I want. Michael affirmed this. Ian remained steadfast in his belief that he was a happy married man today and that he would never have a homosexual affair. The lawsuit threatened Michael Strahan's reputation. With every legal fight, their heated mess in the courtroom got more frightening and more visible to the public. Jean persisted in pursuing the complaint, complaining that inappropriate activity had occurred. With so much at stake, the kids were the only ones hurting. Jean revealed her whole tale and laid all the cards on the table. She revealed information that stunned everyone. According to Jean, the inappropriate conduct began when they were still in Germany, long before they were married or had their twins. According to Jean, he attacked her for the first time in 1996. Unfortunately, some marriages don't work out for both parties, but that's a painful reality of our lives, Michael retorted. Muggli opened up about the unhappy moments. Jean made a list of every incident case that was in court. If Strahan was found guilty, he may lose his girls. According to Jean, it all began even 3 years before their wedding. This caused everyone to wonder why she had stayed with him, had children, and remained married. The replies were rolling in, and there were a lot of questions. Jean said in court that he had been hostile toward her in Easter 1996. The accusations startled everyone. Jean Muggli claimed to have tried resolving the issues through therapy sessions. To address their lack of communication and anger, they both decided to attend therapy. Later on, Jean acknowledged that the treatment sessions were brief. Jean claims that the abuse just continued after their children were born, with the sessions ending immediately before their delivery. Jean says she has run out of choices after the solution failed. People no longer knew what to believe, where the therapy session took place, or what good they had done, and everything Jean Muggli was admitting looked strange. When one side makes a substantial financial benefit, motives are constantly questioned. According to Jean, money sparked off most of their fights. As they say, the details are crucial. Statements and documents demonstrated that Jean had moved $1.7 million into her account from their joint account without Michael's consent. The pair would agree on transactions made in their couple's account, which they owned independently. Jean said that Michael rushed into the room and began shouting at her. She could feel the spit drop all over her face since he was so near. "Where's my money? Return my money, please." Jean acknowledges that she rebelled by doing it since Michael had done the same. It was her method of asserting her authority and equality. Her claims that Michael did the same are unsupported by any evidence. Jean Muggli made another big financial transaction. Jean claimed to have shifted more funds after the $1.7 million when evidence came to light. Soon after, out of dread, another $1.6 million transaction was done. According to Jean, Michael's glance at her during the discussions caused her to act hastily. She said that there was malice on his face and that she needed the money to defend herself, possibly as a way to get away. The narrative completely changes when Jean finally acknowledges that Strahan hasn't touched her at that moment. When he wasn't threatening to kill her, people were more perplexed as to why she transferred so much money. Additionally, Michael came out to admit that he didn't touch her. "I never confronted her. Put the money back into the account," I said, raising my hand after the conversation. Dark secrets, a videotape, and an alleged bribe. Jean claimed that Michael had recorded her sister while she was busy unknowingly taking off her clothes 2 years before she and Michael Strahan were married. It was unclear to everyone why Jean had waited so long to confess to this incident, as it had already been 2006 when she had made the announcement. Jean was doing everything she could to paint Michael as a villain, and both parties were experiencing severe emotional issues as a result of the stress and pressures from the media in their relationship. Jean said, "I had found video equipment in my bedroom." Michael allegedly sent $30,000 to her secret account in North Dakota in exchange for her silence about the event, according to Muggli, who also claimed that Michael had been recording her undressing. No matter how hard he fought, Michael Strahan had to pay. Gene Muggli and Michael Strahan divorced after years of fighting, lying, and being unfit to be role models for their daughters. Because of their prenuptial agreement, Michael suffered a substantial financial loss as a result of the divorce. The court ordered him to pay $18,000 a month in child support in addition to the $15 million, which is 20% of his annual earnings from each year they were married. With this prenuptial agreement in place, Michael fought a losing battle and he tried to have it thrown out, but the prenuptial agreement was set in stone, and there was nothing Michael could do to change it. Going public about how they felt after the divorce. It was a dark and difficult time for both Gene Muggli and Michael Strahan, especially for Michael, who lost more money than either. "Getting divorced is probably one of the toughest things I've ever gone through," said Michael Strahan, whose divorce went viral and was the burning bushfire that tabloids needed to sell their papers. While Jean gave her side of the story when she shared details with the New York Post, Michael also shared his feelings with his fans and those following the story. "It pays to tell the truth, and I told the truth. It was also a learning experience, and I learned a lot about myself and the people around then, some of whom aren't around anymore." The chaos between them did not end with their divorce. Following the divorce, it became clear that the newly divorced couple still had many unsolved problems. Things flared up once again over issues just as the public was beginning to calm down. Gene and Michael had started to reconstruct their lives at this point, but it was clear that the claws were still holding them. While Gene maintained a low profile and spent most of her time with her girls, Michael began seeing other women. Michael seemed to have entered the dating scene somewhat rapidly, but he was now a free man, attractive and well-known, and he was repairing the financial wreckage caused by his divorce from Muggli. Michael Strahan and Nicole Mitchell got engaged. Getting under someone else is the best method to move on from an ex. Michael returned to being a bachelor and began dating Nicole Mitchell, who had also gone through a divorce. Nicole was Eddie Murphy's ex-wife. Both of them were well-known and had learned how to handle celebrity demands. Like Michael, Nicole had to cope with her half of the company. Nicole was seeking a career in acting and modeling while flaunting her stunning sexual flair. They connected in many respects, since she was also a single mom who had gone through a divorce. With 7 kids between them, 2 daughters from Michael's former marriage to Murphy and 5 from Nicole's prior marriage, they formed a small family. Despite becoming engaged, the couple never married. They spent 7 years together. Where there is smoke, there is fire. The public was left to fend for itself without any public declarations on the reasons for Michael and Nicole's split. So they dug. The two are alleged to have split up because of Michael's adultery, according to many people who came forward. The two were reported to have been noisily and continuously bickering over another lady, one woman. "I know you're in there with some B," Nicole said, making it evident that someone else was endangering their relationship. Regretfully, neither Nicole nor Michael said anything to give the impression that they did. The tabloids went wild when Michael said that Kelly Ripa was his TV wife, which sparked one of the most intense rumors that he and his co-star were having an affair behind Nicole's back. They call off the engagement and Nicole moves out. The pair separated after 5 years of engagement with no wedding date, and Nicole left their house in 2014. The reason for the two's breakup or termination of their engagement was not disclosed. However, they are still friends. They didn't discuss the specifics publicly or explain the break in interviews. The public was left to guess, despite the suspicions that Michael had an affair. Furthermore, Nicole affirmed their connection by declaring, "We will always be friends." Live with Kelly and Michael, they weren't the greatest duo. Typically, what occurs behind the screen differs from what happens on it. As a result, despite the show's seeming success, Michael and Kelly needed help with miscommunication and misconceptions about their work ethics. In one interview, Michael made the lighthearted remark that Kelly was his TV wife, which was more sincere than one would think given Michael's past failed marriages. When Michael insisted on meetings to discuss ideas or plans for the program, Kelly seemed highly inaccessible. However, their on-camera chemistry was quite potent. It seemed as if they could be involved in a covert romantic connection. However, Michael only mentioned their relationship as co-workers once leaving the program in 2016. Kelly takes vacation after Michael's departure. When it's time to go, it was time to go. Certain things that were going on behind the scenes just caught up, Michael said after the two had concluded their collaboration. Kelly reportedly took some time off from work and went on vacation after Michael departed in 2016. Michael expressed his desire to make things work, but it was obvious that they were at odds. Taking time off following Michael's departure just made people curious. It increased widespread mistrust. Michael clarified that they had no hostility or lousy blood, ending speculations. If people think, oh, he hates her, I don't hate her. I do respect her for what she can do at her job. I cannot say enough how good she is at her job. Michael's new private relationship with young model Kayla Quick. Despite his history of unsuccessful relationships, Michael never lost hope in finding a lifelong companion. Michael started dating Kayla Quick a year after he split from Nicole Mitchell, a bombshell. She was considerably younger than him, a successful model with long brown hair and gorgeous, substantial blue eyes. In contrast to his other relationships, Michael kept his one with Kayla very secret. Therefore, he must have taken enough public beatings. They met where they intended to go and tried to avoid being seen together in public. Throughout their years together, they were seldom seen in pictures showing love outside their house. This was the safer course of action, in the hopes of a healthy start since Michael's sporadic love life and affairs had received so much publicity. Kayla Quick's demons from her past. Nothing is overlooked while you are in the spotlight. To sell tabloids, the media will look for every information they can to heighten the drama. However, it was unexpected that such a traumatic history would overshadow the young model's public image. As it happened, Kayla had a lot of hidden demons from her background. The reason the two kept their relationship so secret was only stoked by this. Was Kayla's troubled history being concealed? Or did they want to be free to love one another without having their every step monitored by cameras? It quickly became evident from the facts acquired why they chose to keep their relationship a secret. Kayla had a flair for being more than just a model. Kayla Quick's past emerged in a flash. She was discovered to have been an exotic dancer, stripping in nightclubs for many years in addition to being a model. According to reports, she has also been arrested many times. She stole money from her grandmother, which led to her incarceration at the age of 14, and again only 4 years later. After $6,000 disappeared, Kayla was detained by her grandmother, who was unwell then. To top it all off, Kayla and her then-boyfriend were jailed once again, this time for breaking and robbing. Kayla was an ardent party girl. Trouble followed her throughout her youth. There was further conjecture over how she met Michael after she spent years performing at a nightclub in Tampa, Florida. Photos of Michael Strahan and new young lover Kayla Quick go public. Together, they were having a pleasant, restful holiday in St. Bart's. Life seemed to be going well, based on their smiles and body language, and the two were infatuated with one another. The majority of those who followed Michael's profession and personal life were pleased to discover that, after years of legal disputes with his ex-wife and baby mama, he had found happiness. Later, Strahan said in an interview with People magazine, "A lot of people ask me, okay, how did you go from football to commentating to morning TV? You look like you're happy. You have to teach yourself to do it, but I like getting up daily and feeling grateful for what I do and the people in my life." After a decade, Michael and Jean go back to court. In addition to the shock of dating a former exotic dancer and ex-convict who was far younger than him, Michael stunned the world once again. After almost 10 years, Michael and Jean Muggli returned to court. Michael accompanied Jean there, but he was trying to get custody of their 2 girls this time. According to Strahan, Muggli had been abusing their twin girls, Isabella and Sophia, physically and emotionally for a long time, to the point that severe action was now required. When Michael insisted that Jean be granted limited visiting privileges in 2020, he started the courtesy ball moving. The Globe knew they were in for a messy trip, since there was a lot of water under the bridge. The world carefully watched the case, but neither Jean nor Michael made any public remarks. The shocking truth about Jean and her unacceptable ways with the twins. The world watched in disbelief as Jean's monumental inability to be a responsible mother was revealed. First, Jean should have followed the guidelines regarding bringing the daughters to therapy. Michael also said that Jean concealed his girls' passports to prevent them from going to any of their cross-country horse racing or volleyball matches. Because they lacked passports, Michael could not take his daughters on their daddy-daughter Euro trip, and they could not attend any of their athletic activities. When Jean revealed that Michael had a private investigator following her around, violating her privacy, it seemed as if Michael's whole scheme had taken a step back. Dealing with Isabella's illness. Isabella Strahan has been diagnosed with medulloblastoma, a common cancerous tumor that starts in the cerebellum near the base of the skull and is undergoing therapy. The college student and her father openly discussed the specifics of her health struggle in an appearance on Good Morning America. Isabella had emergency surgery at Cedars-Sinai on October 27, 2023, one day before her 19th birthday, after learning of her illness in late October. Isabella stated, "I'm feeling good, not too bad," while receiving chemotherapy at Durham, North Carolina's Duke Children's Hospital and Health Center. "That's my next step. I'm ready for it to start and be one day closer to being over. I'm very excited for this whole process to wrap up. But you have to keep living every day, I think, through the whole thing. I think that in many ways, I'm the luckiest man in the world because I've got an amazing daughter," Michael, 52, said during the interview. "I know she's going through it, but I know that we're never given more than we can handle and that she is going to crush this." Michael Strahan got joint custody of the girls. After a protracted and challenging legal fight, the twins could return to their father in Manhattan. The place was familiar to Jean and Michael, who had grown up before their divorce. The court ordered the twins to go to North Carolina to live with their mother after the divorce. The roles had been reversed, and Jean consented to do what Michael asked regarding their girls' best interests. In addition to being granted full custody of their girls, Michael also had the domestic abuse charges dropped. The child support Michael was paying was the only subject remaining for discussion. The court also decided to schedule a fresh date to resolve this case. It was their drama series' last episode. Or they hoped. Jean Muggli was arrested on harassment charges. When Jean Muggli was jailed for breaking the court's orders, her life turned for the worse. The court decided that Muggli didn't communicate with Marianne Eyre, her ex-girlfriend. Eyre sued because she could no longer resist Muggli's compulsive actions. Marianne revealed all of Jean's problematic behaviors in court, including her pestering and aggressive conduct. Jean Muggli was found loitering outside Marianne's house, breaking the regulations, when the police took her into custody. Aside from the recent custody dispute she and Michael had over the girls, this was the second time Jean Muggli had made headlines for her legal troubles. Jean's life seems to have been unraveling. So who exactly is Marianne Hewitt? It was clear from family get-togethers and sultry vacation pictures that Michael and Kayla were in a relationship. After 6 years of keeping their relationship as discreet as possible, it only caused the world to speculate about the wedding. Michael sees Jean at this stage of his life when they have to meet for meetings or when they are dropping off or picking up their girls. The tabloids went crazy when Michael was seen out on a date with Marianne Hewitt, and in typical Hollywood fashion, everyone was waiting for the next bomb to go off. A lifestyle blogger named Marianne Hewitt likes to watch sports. The former sports star, Michael Strahan, is the ideal companion to attend a game with. During the summer of 2021, the two were captured on camera. Michael chooses fatherhood and family life over all else. From small-scale radio programs to major TV shows and well-known periodicals, Michael has devoted many years to being in front of the camera and conducting interviews. He constantly focuses on the most crucial part of his life, being a parent. In an interview with People magazine, Michael extensively discussed his views on his girls. He remarked, "My kids give me strength. I love being with kids. It's all about family, now more than anything." Now that things have finally settled down with Jean, the mother of his children, with whom he no longer spends much time outside of child-related issues, Michael can live as he pleases. He decided to shift focus and become a more present father. Michael thought it was time to concentrate on what motivates him the most. In this instance, there are two things. He also spoke about how much he loved living on New York's Upper West Side. I like the Upper West Side because, as a father, I like the family feels to it, Michael said while discussing his experience living there. You see folks strolling their pets and moms pushing strollers. One thing I like about the neighborhood is that you don't have to say Michael when you enter establishments. It's a serene, family-friendly neighborhood that is bordered to the east and west by Central Park. I'm just another person there. The Hudson River is stunning.
If you've watched the video till here, that means you've enjoyed the video. Subscribe. Don't forget to turn on the notifications bell icon